The Shoemaker and Little Men. Once upon a time, there was a shoemaker who lived with his wife. The shoemaker was very honest and hardworking, but his business went downhill, and he couldn't make enough money to make a living. He got poorer in time, and all he had was one piece of leather that could make a pair of shoes. In the evening, he cut the last piece of leather. He was going to make shoes with it the next day. He was planning to get up early in the morning and go to workshop. He got up early the next morning, had breakfast, and went to work. When the shoemaker entered his workshop, he searched for the last piece of leather he left on the counter the day before, but he couldn't find it. But there was a very nice pair of shoes instead of the leather. He had never seen such beautiful shoes in his life, and he was so surprised. After his confusion faded away, he started looking for the man who made the shoe. When he couldn't find the people who made the shoes, he sat in his chair and began to watch the beauty of the shoes. It was a great work of craftsmanship and art. While the shoemaker was thinking about it, a customer entered his shop to buy shoes. The customer tried on a couple of pairs of shoes, but he didn't like any of them. All of a sudden, the client was caught in the shoes that the shoemaker found on the counter, and he wanted to try them out. And when the shoes fit perfectly, he left happily by paying the shoemaker higher price than he requested. The shoemaker was very happy with the money he made. Now he could buy more leather and make 2 more pairs of shoes. He bought a larger piece of leather that day. In the evening, he cut off the leather to make 2 pairs of shoes, then went home to sleep. He couldn't wait to see what would happen the next morning. When he went to his workshop the next morning, he saw 2 more pairs of beautiful shoes standing on the counter. He began to look for the mysterious shoemaker, but in vain. There was no one else in the store but himself. In the meantime, 2 customers came to the store. They were happy to buy those shoes by generously paying the shoemaker. The shoemaker can now buy a piece of leather that makes 4 more pairs of shoes. The shoemaker cut the leather for 4 pairs of shoes that night. Then he returned home, leaving them on the workbench. The next morning, new 4 pairs of shoes were standing on the counter, and these shoes were sold at a very good price again. Now, cutting off the leather in the evening and finding shoes on the counter the next morning has become almost normal thing for him. It made the shoemaker a wealthy and rich man over time. One winter evening, the shoemaker was chatting with his wife by the fireplace. He told her what's been going on in his shop lately. His wife was very surprised by the story and suggested a plan to find the mysterious shoemaker. According to the plan, they both went to the store before midnight. They went in and hid behind the curtain in the corner. They were going to stay there until the mysterious shoemaker came out. At midnight, they saw something unusual in their store. There were 2 little men inside the store. The shoemaker watched quietly from behind the curtain everything little men did. The little men were both poorly dressed. They sat on the workbench and started making shoes. Little men did their job with their little fingers as if they were experienced shoemakers. They did the sewing, nailing, and hammering work wisely and quickly. The little men, they finished their work overnight. The shoemaker and his wife were fascinated by the little men's work. They watched them until the whole job was done. When the shoes were finished, 2 little men disappeared from the room. The shoemaker and his wife came out of their hiding place and stared at these amazing shoes on the counter. The shoemaker sold these new shoes at a very good price and made a lot of money. His wife said, "The little men made us rich, and we need to show them our gratitude. I saw them. They dressed poorly. I'll sew them little clothes. Can you make 2 tiny pairs of shoes for them also?" she said. The shoemaker gladly agreed to it. The shoemaker couple worked day and night to give little men their surprise gifts, making small shirts, pants, coats, and shoes to fit their sizes. That night, they put the shoes and the clothes they made on the counter instead of a piece of leather. The couple was so excited because they made a surprise present for the little men. After they left the presents on the table, they hid back behind the curtain again. They were going to watch the little men from there in silence. They saw two little men coming into the store around midnight. They were dressed poorly as usual. As soon as they entered the room, they searched for a piece of leather on the counter to make shoes, but they didn't find a piece of leather on the counter. Then, their eyes were attached to the tiny clothes and shoes on the counter where the leather was. When the little men saw the clothes on the counter fit their size, they started trying them one by one. Shirt, pants, coats, and then shoes. After putting on their new clothes, they looked at each other with glowing eyes. Two little men went their home. The shoemaker and his wife saw that they were very happy with their new clothes and shoes. They said, "The one who earnestly seeks good finds favor." The shoemaker couple was also very happy that they had a chance to show their gratitude to these little men who made them rich. They haven't seen the little men in their store since then. Actually, they didn't need it because they were not poor anymore.